In recent years, more PlayStation titles have been coming to PC, and you might be wondering to yourself, why? Shouldn't the company that just makes the PlayStation keep it on the PlayStation? Surely it'll help sales. I mean, heck, it's worked on Nintendo for years. I literally bought a 3DS and had no games to play for a whole month while I waited for Pokemon to come out.
Gamer Braves.
What's up guys, this is Juan Emerald from Game Braves. Now, it's no secret that PlayStation has been eyeing the PC market. If you look at any of their games on Steam, they have their own publishing wing just dedicated to putting these games on the PC. It's not really just them. As consoles get better and better, guess what? They're approaching the levels of a PC. The PS5 and Xbox Series X both offer the features of what is, let's face it, basically a mid-range PC. Ray tracing, 60 FPS. Meanwhile, our PC Elite Master Race brethren are going on about, I don't know, 3 million frames per second. Listen, I don't particularly care about that kind of stuff, but the fact that these console publishers do is a good sign because it means they're ready for games to become better. Even though most modern consoles are basically a mid-range PC, it does have one advantage over getting an actual gaming PC. Well, two if you count the price. For one, it will never pressure you to install Windows 11, so I'd say that's a win in my book. And while Aloy will never be balling on Xbox, she has made her debut on PC alongside other iconic PlayStation characters like Kratos, Norman Reedus, his funky fetus, and most recently, Spider-Man. With all these exclusives coming to the PC, one can only hope that there's some other game that makes its way to PC as well. Maybe by opening a shortcut or something. At first glance, this decision seems ludicrous. It's been the general mantra of the games industry that exclusives sell consoles. Like I said, it works for Nintendo. I literally bought a 3DS just to play Pokemon X and Y, and then only got into Monster Hunter because after I beat X and Y, what was I gonna do with my life then? For years, it's been lauded over by Xbox supremacists that Halo is one of the best FPSs of all time, and PlayStation doesn't have it. They literally called the Xbox the Halo machine for a while. Meanwhile, all PlayStation could do in response to this was pretend that Killzone was anywhere near as iconic as Halo was, despite the fact I don't even know what the main character of that game looks like. I just like the cool Hellgas guys. But it looks like that wouldn't be the conventional wisdom for long. Sony Interactive Entertainment CEO Jim Ryan has actually weighed in on all this PlayStation moving to PC stuff. I'd like to see a world where games that we make at PlayStation can be enjoyed by many tens of millions of people. Perhaps hundreds of millions of people, Jim said. Right now, success with the existing console model, you're talking really great PlayStation hit, you're talking 10 or 20 million people to play that game. Basically, what he means when he says that is that releasing on consoles is limiting. Because guess what? You can only sell as many copies as you have consoles. And anyone who's tried to buy a PS5 in the past 2 years would know how much harder that's gotten. Sure, you can still release some games on PS4, but eventually you're gonna want to release the blowout PS5 showpiece like Demon's Souls or Returnal. If that's going to release on a console that no one can buy, that's going to limit the sales. Expanding to PC fixes that problem. You have a much bigger pool of people on the PC. Outside of the porting process, you don't have that much more work to do as compared to making a new game or console from scratch. There are complications to the porting process, and maybe we'll get into that in a future video. It's not purely about reaching the people who didn't buy it on PlayStation either. Sometimes people would be more than happy to double dip on their favorite games on PC, because guess what? Coming to PC means several other features, such as modding support, or even enhanced performance. Monster Hunter Rise, for example, launched with uncapped frame rate on PC. And guess what? All my friends who spent over 100 hours in Monster Hunter Rise on the Nintendo Switch bought it again on PC because guess what? It looks great on PC. So imagine, if you will, PlayStation releases God of War Ragnarok on PC or whatever. Now everyone's playing it on PC and no one wants to buy a PlayStation, and now poor Sony is not making any more money. That's what you want me to say, right? Except wrong, because that's not how any of that works. The plan has never been to release these things simultaneously, although we did have that with Halo Infinite, but that's a bag of worms for another day. With PlayStation specifically, the pattern they follow has always been a staggered release. Horizon Zero Dawn launched 3 years on PC after its console launch, where it unfortunately launched alongside Breath of the Wild. Pour one out for that one. On top of that, God of War took a whole 4 years to launch on PC. The closest we've ever come was Death Stranding, which took 8 months. And anyone can tell you that 8 months is practically another lifetime. People talked about Elden Ring for like a month at max, and that was considered a very long time for everyone to be playing the same game. It won't affect anything. Monster Hunter Rise, which is another great example, people knew about the PC version way before the console version even launched. And despite the fact that many people said, oh, I'm not gonna buy it on Switch, I'll just wait for the PC version. Guess what? The game sold like gangbusters on the Switch because people wanted to play Rise first, even though the PC version would undoubtedly be the better one. And when you consider the fact that a lot of people got into Monster Hunter because of World, which did not launch on the Switch, it's safe to assume that at least a handful of them actually bought a Switch just to play Rise.
Happy birthday, Sonic! Hope you like this.
Like it? I love it!
A lot of people, usually in need of a diaper change, are not big fans of this model. They like to say things like it's dishonest for PlayStation to essentially hold gamers hostage by releasing the game on PlayStation first and then PC like a year later. Or worse still, they're somehow betraying their core fan base by making something that was exclusive no longer exclusive. On some level, I can kind of see the merits of the first argument. If you were going to release it on PC, you should say that first. I mean, like I said, it worked with Rise, it didn't affect its sales at all. On the other hand, there is some level of buyer beware at work here. By now, PlayStation has a pattern. You know that the first-party exclusives are going to come to PC eventually. One can hope all of the exclusives are coming to PC eventually. There's also the chance that PlayStation just doesn't know which ones are going to come to PC. Releasing a game on PC requires it to be ported to PC, which requires its own QA effort. And as we discussed in our previous video about mobile games and regional releases, that shit costs money. Like a lot of money. Maybe not more money than developing a game from scratch, but it's still a big financial bet. You never know when your next title is going to suddenly bomb. Look at Babylon's Fall. You could have sworn that was going to be the next big thing by how much Platinum bet their life on it. And now it's the running joke for a game with double digits of concurrent players on Steam. While I'm not saying it's absolutely the case, the logic is there. You'd only want to port the games that you already know were doing well. It fits with what Jim Ryan said. Once you think the game has maxed out all the people it can hit on PlayStation, that's the time to release it on PC. And at the end of the day, it's not like you were held at gunpoint. Let's remember, gaming is a luxury hobby. It's not like Jim Ryan was there with a Glock to your back saying, buy it, you coward. You could have waited and nothing would have happened. All you'd have had is a bit of internet FOMO as everyone posts their funny God of War photo mode picture while you sit there going, I'm waiting for the PC release later. Personally, I really like the strategy that PlayStation has going for it now. I think it really does have something for everyone. For the people who really need to play it early, when everyone else is playing it, play it on the console. It's not like you're taking a hit by buying a PlayStation anyway, since, they're good consoles. If you want a more feature-complete, possibly mod-supported version of the game, you wait a year for the PC release. If you're made of money, possibly because of your oil company, maybe you can buy both. While it's true that Nintendo's iron grip on exclusivity has helped with its console sales, you have to remember, this strategy only works for as long as you make good consoles. No company is capable of doing a 10 out of 10 every single time. Let's not forget that in the 2010s, Nintendo released the Wii U, which is the greatest disappointment of the 2010s after the realization that Michael Bay was going to keep making Transformers movies. And you know what? Bayonetta 2 was exclusive to the Wii U. You had to buy that console if you wanted to play Bayonetta. Salute to the people who did and told us that Bayonetta 2 was really great and the deal to release it on the Wii U was worth it. Because now it's available on the Switch where you can play it on an actually good console. And to the players who whine about non-PlayStation players getting to play Spider-Man, grow up. Returnal is one of my favorite games on the PlayStation 5 right now, and I feel bad that it's locked in PS5 prison because it feels great if more people can play it, because then we can talk about how badly we got screwed over in that game. If it launched on PC, it would fix that problem, since as we have already touched, the PS5 practically doesn't exist right now. Similarly, PlayStation has plenty of other exclusives that could very well use the revisit and a possible PC release to do things like, I don't know, fix its frame rate, maybe touch up the graphics, improve the loading times. I'm an optimist at heart. I just hope that we get some kind of revisit on these exclusives instead of another Last of Us remake. So that's my point. PlayStation games on PC are good for everyone. They're good for the PlayStation players because now you have more people to talk to about your favorite games. They're good for the PC players because they get to play these games, usually with better features. And most importantly, they're good for PlayStation because guess what? All that money gotta go somewhere, right? What's your favorite PlayStation game? Type Bloodborne in the chat and hit enter to find out. This has been Juan Emerald from Gamer Braves, and come on, 60 FPS please.
Hey there! Thank you so much for watching our videos. Don't forget to give us a subscribe if you'd like to see more, and like so we know what kind of content you want to see. Got suggestions for new content? Let us know in the comments below too. Thank you so much again for watching. Take care, dudes.